My husband basically told me my opinion doesn't matter because, after we had an intensive discussion last night about why we can't get a new car, he bought a brand new car today. Posted by you/SatansSocks My, 31F, husband, 32M, bought a car today after we had specifically agreed to wait to purchase it. We spoke last night about our finances and how he's currently trying to pay off credit card debt that he accumulated. He mentioned wanting to buy an electric vehicle, and I told him that a car payment would basically give him very little wiggle room once the bills are paid, etc. To top it off, I just took out a $15,000 loan to replace our air conditioning system that needs to be replaced. Like I said, we had talked about it last night. To which he said to me, "You're right, I should wait to pay off my debt before buying a car." I felt relieved and figured that was the end of the conversation. Fast forward to this morning, he tells me he purchased the car he wanted online. I'm shook because, what the hell, we just talked about this. He tells me he doesn't feel like waiting, and he's making a choice for the family. I called bullcrap. I said I felt extremely disappointed and disregarded. A vehicle purchase is a big deal in my opinion. He said I was wrong for overreacting and he's now more or less ignoring my texts. He says it's not a big deal to buy a car and basically minimize the entire situation. I am quite literally fuming. My mom was kind enough to call me an idiot for not considering a divorce. Am I wrong? Are big purchases like that normal for other couples? I feel nauseous and stuck, and I don't know how to come to terms with something like this. To add, this is not the first time I've been disregarded, but it's the first time I'm questioning whether my reaction is the correct one. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. You are not wrong. What your husband has done here is commit major financial infidelity and abuse. Your family finances are now massively hampered and compromised by an unnecessary purchase that was only for his pleasure and ego. He very plainly said to you that he doesn't care about your family's financial well-being and that indulging his whim is the most important thing to him. You really need to give these facts some serious consideration for the future, because your mom is right. This behavior is typical of an immature, spoiled brat who wants what he wants and doesn't give a damn about anybody else. You need to untangle yourself from this jerk immediately because he is quite willing to continue to ignore your thoughts, concerns, and feelings. You would be very wrong to yourself to continue to let him treat you this way. Ops response. I really appreciate your insight. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Heartbreaking as it is, I can't shake off the feeling of being disrespected. Commenter 2. Asking for info, does he already have a car? If so, is it old and falling apart and necessary to replace? Was it sold/can it be sold to help offset the new car? What's the story behind the $15,000 loan? Did you both discuss this, or did you decide by yourself? Was this air conditioning unit absolutely necessary to replace, or did you only want to replace it? By that I mean, are summers in your area brutal or just hot? Arizona heat is brutal, where an actual air conditioning system is necessary, but in New York you can survive with just a $50 room fan. Ops response. Unfortunately, last summer we had to fix the air conditioning 3 times, and it was the 3rd year that it broke down. When we went to turn on the heater in the winter, it didn't work either. We have brutal desert heat, so we had decided to use our tax refund to replace the air conditioning since we had tried time and again to fix it. Obviously, a replacement was more than our tax refund, so I took out a personal loan to cover the rest of the cost. He has a car and a truck, but he also has a commute. I told him I completely understood his need to save on gas, but I really wanted him to pay off his credit card debts beforehand. I was under the impression we were on the same page, but apparently not. Commenter 3. Wait, he already has a car and a truck? WTF, what kind of car did he buy? You said he bought it online, so it's a Tesla, I fear. Ops response. Your suspicions are correct, it is a Tesla. Op responds to a question regarding her hopes for her marriage. This is a strangely difficult question, but thank you for asking it. I think I went into this marriage expecting a partnership, but I was aware that he is his own person with his own opinions, likes, and way of being. I don't want to control him, but I don't want to be taken advantage of either. I knew there would be hurdles and difficulties. I don't want to be petty, and that's why my mom is upset with me. I'm a walking bag of insecurities, and I'm just trying to find a clear path. I'm ranting, I apologize. But thank you for giving me something more to consider. I appreciate it. Update 1 year 2 months later. Hi everyone, I made a post here a while back, and while I wasn't planning on making an update, I stumbled across a post that sort of reminded me of my situation because it was so similar to what I went through. To be honest, since my post a year ago, my life has more or less crumbled. My husband and I have divorced, and it was finalized just this past month. Everything feels almost like a blur, and I don't think I've really sat down and fully processed everything that happened. Some context that I didn't add to my last post: my ex and I do have 2 children. He also had a second job at the time. His work schedule was as follows: day job from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and his night job from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I absolutely hated his work schedule. He was barely ever home, he was always tired, and he didn't spend much time with the kids. But his finances were pretty bad, and he was drowning in debt. This was a point of contention for me because I had already helped him get out of credit card debt several times before, but he always managed to rack the card back up. At the time he bought the car, I had taken out that $15,000 loan for the air conditioning system, and I had told him we had a year to pay it off interest-free. This became, in my opinion, the beginning of the end. He quickly told me that he couldn't help me pay anything towards the air conditioning because his Tesla payment was $1,000 per month. And then it happened. 2 months into having his car, he totaled it. It took months for the insurance to process his claim, but he had to continue making the payments. All the while, I had sent more than half of what little I had in savings so that I could finish paying off the air conditioning before the year was up. On top of all this, I had taken on the role of supermom. I was beyond exhausted. All of the household chores became my responsibility, as well as caring for our children. Thankfully, my parents were a great help to me during this time and would watch my youngest child while I worked during the day. At the time, my youngest wasn't even a year old yet. Eventually, everything started falling apart at the seams. We argued a lot because we were both so exhausted. Our finances were horrific. I remember looking at my bank account and seeing that I only had $34 in it. My eldest cried to my mom one day while I was at work and said she was sad that I never played with her because I was always cleaning or cooking or working. She asked my mom if I still loved her because I never spent time with her. I bawled my eyes out that day when my mom told me. I started to realize that things weren't working. I kept trying to communicate that I needed help, that I was tired, that I couldn't live like this anymore. Eventually, crap hit the fan. And I felt like it was a sign that our marriage was doomed. It was done. I said to him, I'd rather divorce you now while I still love and respect you than later down the road when we hate each other and then damage our kids along the way because we're so angry. After some back and forth, he agreed, and I filed everything myself. I also emptied out whatever savings I had to pay for all the fees. I have since moved in with my parents, and I rent a room in their house. The divorce was as drama-free as we could possibly make it. We get along pretty well and have decided to keep a civil relationship for our kids. One thing that I did find hilarious in this entire situation was that our divorce was finalized on April 1st. When I got the paperwork, I told him, damn, even the legal system thought our marriage was a joke. He didn't laugh though, lol. I can breathe a little easier. But I can say with 100% certainty that I have a lot to process, and I need to do some serious work on myself as a person. I don't wish ill on my ex. I hope he lives the life he chooses to the fullest. We want different things in our lives, and our priorities did not match. Still, I hope he finds happiness. Anyhow, that's my update. Thank you guys for reading. Take care of yourselves out there. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. A Cybertruck, wasn't it? Ops response. Oh dear God, no. Sadly, it wasn't because he thought it was ugly, it was because he couldn't afford the monthly payments. Commenter 2. We're the same, but in my case, my husband is a gambler. We argue in front of my son most of the time, but I still love him. I don't have the strength to leave him. Ops response. It's taken a lot of energy for me not to melt into a puddle of tears on some days. To this day, I love him. But I find it so unfair to prioritize him, the kids, the house, etc., while wearing myself down, watching my hair fall out from the stress. All the while, he spends money left and right without a care in the world. I remember sitting on my couch thinking, I can't live like this anymore. I'm going to give myself a heart attack. I've come to the realization that it takes more than love to weather the storm. How many times do I have to beg for change? It's just so unfair. Commenter 3. He was working 2 jobs, doing 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.? Was this every day? That would kill most people. No wonder you hated it. If I worked those hours, I would literally not do anything except sleep and eat at home. Ops response. Yes, I agree. I never wanted him to get a second job, he kept insisting that he didn't make enough. But once he got the second job, his spending also went up. It was a vicious cycle, and I was always so worried because his health got worse along with his finances. He worked the day job 5 days a week and the night job 4 nights a week. Commenter 4. Please tell me you're not legally on the hook for his credit card or Tesla debt. Ops response. No, I'm not, thankfully. He never had a doubt that the debt he accumulated was his own doing, and he took responsibility for it. What's sad is that, in the past, I had brought his credit card to zero for 3 years in a row. But his behavior never changed. Commenter 5. I think you'll find in a few more years your trajectory will impress the you of today. You were anchored, and now you are not. You had no help, and now you have your parents. Ops response. You can't imagine how much of a loser I felt for asking to move back in. But I'm keeping my head up and hoping for the best. Commenter 6. You weren't and aren't a loser for asking to move in. You're smart, and you've done the right thing because you took steps to build a better life for you and your children. It's a life that's better than what you had with your ex because you have people who love your kids and are willing to at least not add to your burdens. I suspect they even help with your kids. If your kids felt you weren't able to spend time with them, they must have felt that even more so with their father, or worse, they didn't have that expectation of their father because they had never had that with him. I hope he's realized how much you did when it came to the kids, because now when he sees them, it's all on him. I suspect he spends more time with them now than he did when you were all in the same home. You did the right and hard thing. It's really hard to admit a relationship is over and to leave. I stayed with my ex for 25 years, and I really wish I'd left at least 10 years before I actually did. He was just as bad with money, if not worse than yours, because he didn't take on extra work to try and dig himself out of the problems he made. You have my respect and admiration. Ops response. Thank you so much for your kind words, it means a lot to me. My ex quit his night job, actually. He spends way more time with the kids now, and he's fully realizing just how overwhelming it really is. I don't think he'll ever fully appreciate the amount of work I took on. But I've come to the realization that I can't force him to appreciate anything. He has to grow on his own, and only he can take that journey.